The theme of my talk today is the maritime history of India. And the reason I think it may be interesting to many of you is that India is one of the great maritime countries in the world through history. And unfortunately, much of the history that we learn in our textbooks is very much continental oriented. So if you aren't a specialist, you could be forgiven for thinking that Indian history is really about a series of dynasties who ruled Pataliputra, followed by a series of dynasties who ruled Delhi, all the way to the present day. So my idea is to hopefully give you some flavor of another history. And it is not just a theoretical, sentimental view of history, because it has genuine implications for the way we think about our world today. Because if you take a continental, sort of Delhi-centric view of Indian history, you will get the impression that our neighbors, our neighborhood, is about China and Pakistan. But if, in fact, if you think about a maritime worldview, then our neighbors are Indonesia on one side, Oman on the other side. I'm not just taking into account, of course, Sri Lanka and Maldives, but even further out, perhaps, as far as Vietnam. Because that is sort of, in a sense, the ecosystem of our history. And so I'm going to give you a flavor of that. I don't have a very long period of time, and I don't want to bore you with a long monologue. So I will be necessarily selective in the way I'm going through it, just to keep the story flowing. But hopefully I will be able to give you some sense of it. Incidentally, what I am talking about is to some extent derived from a book I will be publishing later this year on the, it's called The Brief History of India's Geography. It has a main title, but we haven't yet decided on that. But it's A Brief History of India's Geography.